juniors and seniors that are interested in construction and the trades. And that concludes my report.
I'd like to say graduation was wonderful.
Yes, it was. Thank you. I'll pass that on.
Both graduations.
Yeah.
Since 10:30 and 1:30.
Yes.
Madam Chair, can I interrupt? So, I mean, our graduations are, and I thank you all for doing it, but something that happened at that graduation shows the content of our faculty and staff. Right before you know how I like to cut up with people. It wasn't a day of cutting up for some other reasons, personal reason for me, but the thing is we had a grandmother, and then Casey knows the story, a grandmother about 2 minutes before I got up there, and she grabbed me, and she didn't know who I was, and she was in the and she said, "My grandson's not in the program." And the thing I said, "I'm sure he's in the program." And she said, "Are you going to let him go up there and get his thing?" I said, "Of course." And you could see she was very upset. So then Casey went over to talk to her, and by the time I got back, one of Casey's staff members had told me that
They
she
found
just
his
didn't.
name.
They found his name, and it was in a different location. And
Such
just
a relief.
when I went up and brought it to her, and that's what's so special about our graduation, because we want to make it special for the students, but we also want them. So I want to thank you and your staff for
Absolutely.
that personally. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like the fact that we had the FGC alumni stickers, people watching them.
Yes.
And we should have been slapping one on every single person walking out of the door as they were walking through the gauntlet. We should, so for next year, let's slap one on every single one of them and hand them an Alumni Association donation card.
Yes, Lee actually provided those for us to hand
Really,
out,
really
so it was
nice,
a good
nice
idea.
touch.
Yeah.
It was like looking around, it's like, oh gosh, so we have so many alumni that were at that.
I think we're going to make them bigger.
But you know, graduations can stay within the hour and be super special, so good work on that. It didn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing to be really super special,
Right.
so.
I think we were at 40 minutes and 42.
Yeah, it was great. It was perfect, actually, because
Yeah.
anything longer, people are starting to get, the natives would get restless.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
The next report, Business Services Report. Ms. Holloway?
Good afternoon again. I have two budget amendments I'm requesting approval for. First one, the college request approval of budget amendment number 9 to the restricted current fund, Fund 2, for the fiscal year 23-24. This amendment recognizes revised award authorizations and new grants received in the 23-24 fiscal year.
Is there a motion to approve Budget Amendment Number 9, Restricted Current Fund, Fund 2, Fiscal Year 23-24?
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Does anyone have any questions or want to discuss anything? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you. And my final budget amendment, we are requesting approval of Fund 7, Budget Amendment 9, which has been revised so the report reflects actual revenue, revised budgeted expenditures, actual expenses, and projects through, and updated projects through April 21st, 2024.
Is there a Budget Amendment Number 9, Capital Outlay Plan for Unexpended Plant Fund? It's number 7, Budget Fiscal Year 2023-2024. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second. Motion, Dr. Teppadino, seconded by Ms. Suzanne Norris. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Any questions?
That's it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Holloway. President's report. Dr. Barrett.
Try to make this quick. So I want to thank Ms. McGinnis, who helped us with the Board of Trustees signs. This year we did a little differently and went to the school. Saved me from getting lost all over Dixie County. So thank you for that. And I think it was special to do that. We'll probably want to do that again just at the school. Also want to thank her for attending the nursing pinning ceremony. I want to thank all of you for supporting our second. Remember, we used to do our nursing program, our RN program, just in the fall semester. And this year we had our first nursing pinning for that January class, a much smaller group, but still is, now we have 2 cohorts going in every year. So thank you for supporting that for that. I also want to thank you for all your help over the past few months. It's been a difficult one, especially at home and also here. As you know, I've been inheriting this academic situation. I've learned a lot, never want to do it again, okay? But doing 2 jobs is a little bit stressful. And but on a positive note, I want to thank Cassie for all her help getting this search process done really well to tell the good things that are happening here. We went through a national search. We had 87 applicants for the position. We brought 6 semifinalists on the campus, and we had the whole entire campus engage with them through different processes, similar to like a presidential process, and they started at 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. They ended with me, and then if they wanted a tour of the counties, they could go for the tour of the counties, which some of the staff did, so I want to thank them for that. The campus has rated those individuals. We are at the process of vetting a few of those individuals, and I'm hopeful in June I'll bring you forward a candidate. I can't wait to bring that candidate. But it was important for me to do that because I did learn a lot of things that in my 9 years, the good and bad, what was taking place and what we could improve on and opportunities. So I just want to thank you for doing that. Everybody said I was crazy, and I was crazy for doing it. So anyway, I also want to thank you for your approval of the AS and Fire Science program. We'll start that in the fall. We got notification from State Department of Education to move ahead with that. And we're already working, as you know, the bachelor's in business. We're going to be starting in the fall. We're also working towards a bachelor's in public safety emergency management, which will take police, fire, all those different components, criminal justice, EMT, and make a bachelor's for those people that want to be in management and so forth. So it's a unique program that I think we've heard a lot of good things about. Earlier, I also mentioned to you about the health insurance update. More to come on that. I mentioned that at the, we don't know the cost, which is concerning, but we are still optimistic, and we're going to get our part of the state health insurance done. It's going to be different for our employees, which I did mention earlier. We kind of help our employees register and sign and do all that. It's all going to go through portals with the state, and there are very formalities, and there's no more opt. If you don't pick one, we just assign you one. You have to pick one. So it's going to be a different kind of a benefit, self-managed, as many of us are going through with our care as it is. So it's going to be different. So stay tuned with that. I'm sure we'll have more updates. Cassie and Michelle are constantly on those calls. I just call and complain that I don't know the price. So anyway, typical college president. Also want to let you know, Casey and her staff and Rob Chapman and a few others are working on a new website. That'll be our 3rd in 9 years. I always say there's too many, but and hopefully we will at that time do things. We'll be adding different features on that website for the public to have information and so forth. Okay, what else? Okay, flag football. So I went up there yesterday to see the team play, and once again, fine young ladies. Instead of, I think I've used this instead of Roll Tide, it's Roll Wolves. In 2 years, we're 30-2. And from a winning standpoint, from a football perspective, we beat 4 out of the top 10 Division I schools this year that are playing for their national championship at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Have 60 people in a 70,000 stadium. It was unique again, a very unique experience where you can walk around and just do whatever you want. But the kids are very good. If you think about our record this year, we ended at 15-1. The average points per game scored on us was 5.1. 66 points were total scored on us. And we won today by score 45-6, excuse me. So if anybody want to see what the students got, this is the probably thing. It's heavy, so that's all part of when they win. Very important to notice that 3 of the students are going on for full scholarships at a D1 level, and many of the students are going on. They ended their athletic career today, and so there was some mixed emotions from them today. It was very important to be with them on that. I will just say I want to congratulate 5 specific players that were named to the all-tournament. Alexander Harris, she's number 8, a defensive back. Mackenzie Fillion, number 11, a safety. Shanira Shareed, a rusher. Tramisha Harris, a wide receiver MVP, and our sophomore quarterback, Ashley Smith, number 1. And Ashley Smith was awarded the most valuable player of the tournament.
Oh, wow.
And of course, Ricky Hufty was named the NJCAA Football Coach of the Year for the 2nd consecutive year. And hopefully we'll have at least Ricky here. Most of the players are graduating, so, but it's just interesting because the universities were surrounding the team at the award ceremony. I was like, what's that? They're recruiting them. So it was kind of an interesting perspective on that. So, Madam Chair, I believe that is my report, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll cover item B under the President's report, presidential evaluation results. As the board is aware, the board is required to evaluate its president annually, and it does so using a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest, excellent, and 1 being poor. The board evaluated Dr. Barrett in 7 different areas, all of which are geared toward, or the board holds an eye toward 4 state accountability standards that it looks at. And so tonight I'm going to give you a summary of the results as to each category, and then ultimately ask for approval by the board, since this is required to be presented to the chancellor. So the first area is board relations. Dr. Barrett received 5s across the board from all 9 board members, with comments such as Dr. Barrett keeps open lines of communication, always transparent, presents pros and cons to the board. The second area of evaluation was community, state, and national relations. He again received 5s from all trustees, with comments regarding his involvement in many community organizations in a leadership capacity, including United Way and the Chamber. The third category was fiscal operations. There was one category in which it talks about positive continuous progress and fiscal accountability. And there was just a comment that basically this trustee was newer to the board and lacked historical perspective. So in that area, Dr. Barrett received an average of 4.8, but other than that, received 5s consistently. Instructional and student services programs were also 5s across the board. Always reviewing operations for staff and improvement, speaking about his expansion of extracurricular activities, clubs, organizations, and just well done in that area. The next category was personnel and human resources, which talks about his relationships with staff and faculty, and received 5s in all of those. Next was leadership, again, 5s across the board with 2 similar exceptions, ability to handle crisis and identifying potential areas of conflict. Those averaged to a 4.8, with, again, the suggestion that just hadn't had an opportunity to observe that, being somewhat new. But that there was strong leadership. Dr. Barrett is always visible and accessible to students, staff, and faculty. There were comments about the charter school and obviously the all the work that's gone into that. And the final area was goals, objectives, and areas of concentration. Dr. Barrett consistently received 5s, recognizing the articulation agreements, the transfer agreements, and outperforming standards in general as to the college. So a very outstanding evaluation, as has been consistent with this board and Dr. Barrett. And so assuming the board is in agreement, I would just ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
That's second.
Okay. And I don't think we need a group approval,
If you would.
group discussion, okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussion, any comments that anyone would like to make at this time regarding the evaluation? If no comments, is there, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And so we are thrilled with the results that we have here on the presidential evaluation. And
I'm thrilled you're not talking about anything.
are there any topics for future meetings that anyone would like to bring up?
Is it okay, Chairwoman Allen, if I make just a broad statement? May I have permission?
Sure.
So I know people are allowed to have their opinions, and we are, of course, welcoming of people to come to address it in a public forum, and they get their 3 minutes. since we're voicing opinions, my personal opinion in regards to having legal counsel next to the chairman or chairwoman is one that when I was in that role, I found it tremendously beneficial to have the president to my left and legal counsel to the right, because we always want to do things by the book, and we always want to make sure we respect the Sunshine Laws and make sure that we also respect parliamentary procedure. So in this regard, people are entitled to have their opinion, but if we're going to have our opinions voiced, my personal opinion is I would always want legal counsel right next to me so I can make sure to follow the letter of the law, make sure that we do things as we should, and as a board work together, because there are certain stipulations and rules that I'm sure as a chairperson you have to abide by today, and I really appreciate you. So Ms. Logan, thank you for being there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. Any additional comments?
I just would like to thank Dr. Barrett again for another wonderful year. Not without its ups and downs and certain things, but I appreciate the fact you always bring the challenges to the board. You were very transparent about the problems. You don't oversell things, okay, which gives us the opportunity to really dig into, things that might be critical to the area and whether or not it's a good fit. So again, another outstanding year, and thank you. And I'm looking forward to when you are able to relinquish the role for administrative affairs to academic affairs, that you're going to also bring back to us, like, what are the observations you have and where are the things that we can do better? Because as I've said many, many times, like, our students go out and compete in the world, so we cannot be complacent. We cannot allow our staff to be complacent and think like everything's just going great. It is going great, but we can always do better. And so your short tenure
I'm actually planning on doing that.
Okay, good. Your short tenure in that role, I think, is going to challenge us as a board as well, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you.
And lastly, I'm aware of your adversity that you faced, and I'm very grateful for the role you played at graduation and following through. So I know that you being there means a lot to the students and to everyone. So and then the review is just a reflection of what we believe every day. That's true. And so, that's just a formal document that we submit to Tallahassee, but a day in and day out, you deliver for all of our counties, for all of our students, for all of our professors, and for all of us trustees. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tepedino. So our next meeting is set for June 13th, 2024 at 4 p.m. With a workshop again. And it will be in here, I'm assuming.
We'll do it here.
Okay,
Unless you want to do it in the library, it's here, fine.
This is easier.
this is fine. yes.
The audio's fine.
And 5 p.m. regular meeting. And
By the way, David he had an emergency with his wife, so he had been trying to get me since 2, but because of, I think, connectivity during that storm.
okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I
So moved.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. McGinnis?
We're going to get a meeting next week.
We are adjourned.
I'm leaving my stuff.
Done. Filling chair. Yeah, done good.
Written something down beforehand.
I saw that. No, that was
Take care of yourself.
Do it all the time.
I know, that you get out of,
Like 20 years, 20
Get out of practice.
all right.
Careful going back.